not need any introduction. Dr. Sanjun Gu, he is State Extension Specialist of Horticulture in North Carolina, A&T State University. His area of expertise and interest includes vegetable and fruit and small fruit production, both organic and conventional, vegetable grafting and season extension with low and high tanning. Dr. Good research stress on-farm efficiency and profitability for small and limited resource farmers. And he advocates sustainable agriculture and serves as the co-coordinator for the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program in North Carolina. Welcome, Dr. Gu, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. I tried to switch the computer because the version of PowerPoint didn't work on the computer, so it needs the, I think, 2010 to support those stuff I'm doing, so give you a little time. I know I'm just standing between you and lunch. I already smell it. I was almost suggesting I'm eating to eat first, but we have to see. But some of the some of the discussion part we can discuss later. So let's see. I do have videos to show you. So and the video may not work in the PowerPoint. I have to select the window to do that. So okay. Let's see. Well, like Dr. Eden said, I'm not quite new. I used to work here for 5 years. I actually organized the first vegetable grafting workshop here with the support from SARE, so those 2B. Some of you already attended that one. So I'm really happy to know, well, to see Dr. Eden actually pick up this topic again to collect all the updates. So I'm very happy to be here. And I'm getting old, so I don't want to travel a lot. So, but the way she asked me, I said, I need to come back. So that's why I'm here. And of course, see Carrie, see John, and see the Carol Miles' work. We all know each other except John. Sorry, you're in this case. So, yeah. Again, I used to work here, and now I'm with A&T State University. I'm not in NC State University. I'm A&T State University. It's 1890 school. All right. We have to switch this too. So. I'll try to be quick, but if you feel like one slide in the more explanation, just let me know. All right. I actually sent some different title, but last weekend, when I was thinking about preparing for my presentation. Well, by the way, it was really windy and cold, so give me a very perfect reason not working in my yard. I'm a horticulturist. I work in the yard all the time. Before my wife called me, get in! So this is something I think I can introduce to you today. I examined the program. Dr. Eden put it together. I think it was something I can share with you. So I will not overlap these other people's talk as well. So first one, I want to cover the Chinese perspective. Grafting is really an emerging technology in this country, and a lot of things have been done in Asia. So I'm going to give you the Chinese perspective, and then talk about the cucurbit grafting in general. Talk about melon grafting from China, from Florida. That's the recent paper published last year in December. That's Xin and Guan's work. I tell you why I use their work, and how why I can use the work, right? And then the whole insertion method in China. There are some new developments after. Well, I've been visiting China a lot, and I take advantage of being there and visiting different stuff. So I'm going to show you some videos. You will love it. And then there's some discussion. Basically, I want to pose a thought on your side is how farmers in this country and nursery in this country can benefit from grafting. And then I'll share with some of my own stories. I have been doing grafting for so many years. Not necessarily research, but I did a lot of things myself. I'm going to share that with you. So we'll see if we can cover all those. First one is showing the map, and this is China, and this is US. You look at the latitude is similar, right? And then I'll show you this picture. That's actually a grafted beta melon. Yeah. Anybody tried a beta melon before except the Lala? Good. It's bitter, right? Bitter. Yeah, but it's good stuff. So, and in China, in Taiwan, in South Korea, maybe in Japan as well, they actually graft bitter melon as well. This is not my focus, just want you to know that they're grafted bitter melon as well. And then this is the China map, and I want to show that here is where I used to work. When I was in China, that was back in 1990s. I actually worked on cucumber breeding and also production in Chinese type greenhouse. I will show you a picture later. And one key factor for the success of the winter production cucumber is doing grafting. So really, that's really targeted cold harvest. So I have done with grafting work so many years ago. So when I came here, I didn't do a lot of grafting anymore. But in this country, it's emerging. So this is the province where I used to work with. Here, actually, I used to work with here, the Shandong province. This gives you some idea about the production of vegetables in China in general. You think about watermelon, melon, cucumber, tomato, eggplant, and pepper, those typical crops you graft with, and you think about total acres and graft acres. So just pay attention to this one. 40% of watermelon in China is grafted. And melon, 20%, cucumber, 30%. That's in general. Tomato, only 1%. So when I came to this country back in 1999, in China, there were not much tomato grafting. And I can tell you why. It's because tomato is not as important as cucumber. And if you look at this one, eggplant, 15%, pepper, 1%. Just because in the Chinese culture, eggplant is way more important than pepper, and you make more money with it. And the other thing I want to mention, before I forget that one, is for pepper and eggplant grafting, typical method is using the bigger plant, like the Carol said. Those are to be used as cleft grafting, and it's been very successful doing that way. Of course, you have to spend extra time to remove the suckers, but that's the typical technology to be used for pepper and eggplant grafting. You have 4 to 6 weeks old transplants to graft with. And when I was in Lincoln here, actually did some grafting on eggplant and pepper. The cleft grafting worked really well. And then if you think about the supply and demand on grafting materials, China is huge, and China produces a lot of vegetables. And the demand for grafting transplants is about 400 billion each year. 400 billion each year. Those are information from one of my colleagues from Hua Tong University, and it's published in the first vegetable grafting proceeding. So I'll show you the picture later. And right now, with all the farmers who produce grafting materials themselves and the nurseries, we are able to produce 4%, equals to 16 billion a year. That's a lot of transplants. But still, the demand is there, and the nursery is not enough, cannot keep up with the demand. So there's a big industry in China for that. And there are challenges as well. And if you look at the Shandong province, that's where I am, and then Henan province, I'll show you next slide. The grafting work will be really different because of the location. Shandong province is the largest vegetable production province in China, and it's kind of a northern, east region. And here, Henan is a really, really tropical region. And in the next slide, you'll see that in Shandong, most vegetables here in the protected culture are grafted except tomatoes and pepper. So just because the cold harvest part of it is so big, and later on, this is also was so big, and the protected culture can give you more money, give farm more money. So most of those transplants are grafted. It's in cucumber, watermelon, melon. So cucumber and watermelon are very important vegetable species in China, and it's more important than tomato and pepper. Keep that in mind. And if you look at the nursery produced seedling, grafted seedling versus farmers, we can see farmers will not produce as many transplants as the nurseries nowadays. But 10 years ago, let me see, more than 10 years ago now, when I was in China, the majority of grafted transplants were produced by farmers themselves. So this gives you some trend that what happened in China may apply to the situation here. The farmers here got so scared of how to graft them, but the nurseries not picking up. But later, more nursery will pick up. I talked to Frank Lopes from NC State, and unless the big nursery in this country picks those up, the commercial use of grafting will be limited in this country. So this is Shandong province. We have a largest vegetable production and also the largest vegetable production in protected culture. And if you look at Henan province is way south. There's no frost at all. And 99% of watermelon was grafted. Just because the land, this is a kind of an island, the land space is very limited. And just like in Japan, what happened in the 1920s, they started to use grafted watermelon. It happens exactly in Henan. But they were lucky because the technology is there already. So most watermelon production in Henan province is in the open field. And 99% of them is grafted. Okay, so I mentioned about the protected culture system in China for grafted transplants. And this is some pictures show you that's the very simple structure. We call it the Chinese solar greenhouse. The energy comes only solar. This looks really simple. And look inside the base is dirt walls. When I was in Nebraska, when I was in Missouri, I tried to promote those type of structures. It's very simple. However, I couldn't build them. I always tell people it took me 18 months to get permission to build a high tunnel. So those things you'll never be able to finish. And I'm running all those issues with university-owned property. So anyhow, this happened to be a picture with strawberries. But if you go to Shandong province around February or January, around that area, you go to those greenhouses, and they are full of grafted plants with, for example, cucumber, madeleine, all those different species. And those greenhouses are not heated, and they produce all those warm-season vegetables during the coldest months. That place is actually similar, the climate is similar to our place here. So it's very, very cold, and because of that reason, they use grafting. And to answer your question, the cold harvest is really big for the winter production of vegetables. So for cucurbit grafting method, Carol has introduced a lot, but I want to give you some idea about the manually versus machine grafting transplants. I want to also read this to you. This is a publication by, I don't know how to say it, Paris, philosophy or something. Anyway, he said that the grafting steel and empirical research and crafts that have been dominating the current state of art is still true. I don't know how long this is going to be staying true, unless we develop some really good robots that can build a lot, increase the efficiency of grafting greatly. But right now, it's still an art. Carol said, grafting watermelon is art. It is art. So right now, it's still art for the whole kind of grafting technology in the vegetable grafting world anyway. So there are grafting robots available, especially in Japan, in South Korea, and now in China, but it's still very limited. And I'll show you why. This is the picture I took when we were having the first international symposium on vegetable grafting. I don't know why the first one you went, you didn't call it the first one, maybe the zero one, I don't know. But they called it the one held in 2012? 2011? 2012.
In Europe?
No, in China, 2013.
2011 was here.
Yeah, 2011 was Europe, 2014 was China.
2014 was in China. So they call it the first international symposium on vegetable grafting. We had a tour, I'm pretty sure Carol was there too. They showed this grafting robot machine we developed. And when you look at this, for this machine to operate, you need at least 3 people, if not 4. So one people doing this sign, one doing this stuff, and some other people to help out. So their grafting rate is not actually as high as a trained skilled worker. So I'll show you some videos later. So this is another grafting machine developed by South Korea, and that's for cucurbit grafting. So I'll show you a video in the next slide to tell you, basically for your own judgment that why this thing cannot be so popular yet. Plus, it's very expensive to purchase them. Let me see if it's going to work or not. If not, I'm going to exit the window. Or maybe it's going to work. Oh, QuickTime, it said QuickTime not available. So, Apple and Windows do not work really well. So I'm going to show you this video. Yeah, the sound is okay. They speak either in Chinese or Korean. We can understand. If you look at this, there's one people doing this side, the other people doing the other side. Of course, the transplants will not go to the place themselves, right? So either 2 to 4 people to operate that, and that's a very short version. And I can play again. So basically, it takes too much effort, and your transplant has to be perfect size to do this. So that's why one of the bigger reasons it's not getting popular is it's too expensive and too much trouble to work with. If you get a really even-sized transplant, either Sanya or rootstock, you have to have a really good germination room, really good control the environment in the greenhouse. Everything has to be perfect to do this. So it doesn't provide benefit if you want to do it this way. All right, let me go back to the presentation. Let me see if I have another slide. Okay, so this one was in Wuhan, China, when we were toured one of the nurseries at the International Symposium. I think this is a video as well. This one, by the way, is doing the grafting, still slice grafting with tomato plants. So this is also a video, I believe. Yeah. Show you this one. So this is how you do it. So you got all the transplant, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people working as a team. Even if you can do 600 plants per hour, that's not a lot for 4 people. So you have to be very careful to work with all those. But it's semi-automatic, right? This is probably their this is their scion side. This is the rootstock side. You put it together, the machine is going to graft themselves.
They're taking more time to get that plant ready than it takes to graft.
Yep, exactly. So that's why all the machines being invented so far will not satisfy the need for the large volume of transplants. And plus, the machine itself costs, I don't know, just very, very expensive. So this to give you some idea how we graft those with robots. Were you there when you did this? I speak Chinese, so I said, can I just, you guys just let me take the full image or something? So we did. What benefit do you speak Chinese? As a Chinese, right? Okay. I'm supposed to wrap this up into your schedule. She said, okay, if the food is cold, don't blame me, all right? And this was the similar time when I was visiting, when I was attending the conference, but this is my home province. I was born and raised in Shandong province. She and I actually went there earlier, and I worked there for 10 years in China. I know I have a lot of connections in China, and most of those folks are pretty power folks over there. I'm old people, I'll tell you. So that's the nursery in Shandong province. You know, as I mentioned, Shandong province is really advanced in vegetable production. So their grafting method, we are managing vegetable grafting transplants are way ahead of them than the one you saw. So I'll show you some of the breeds. Well, this is this is one Chinese solar greenhouse. They actually don't use the more advanced greenhouse to do this because it's very expensive. So you can see people just working in this greenhouse. This is a pretty cold region at the time, but people are working there very comfortable temperature, and they work just along with transplants. So they don't use sheet cloths as well. They use they don't use the black plastic film, but use some sheet cloth. And then they use this kind of a plastic mulch type plastic to put on top of them to keep moisture. So this is cucurbit grafting, right? And next one, I'm going to show you the whole insertion method, which is popular for watermelon, and sometimes for melon, melon, and sometimes for cucumber in China and Asia anyway. So this video shows you the one in Wuhan where we were, and the following video shows the one we did in Shandong province. You see the difference? And when I show the video, make sure to pay attention to the second video, how the people from Shandong modified the insertion method, and I point out to you as I show it. Sorry for switching back and forth. So this one is from Wuhan. So first you see those scion is very small. You don't have to put into cells. They just put into a flat tree over there. You can just plant it. It's very small. And then for this one, you see they remove the meristem here or leaves, the growth tip here, and then this leaf actually cut in V shape. Cut it one cut, two cuts in the leaf, and then use the kind of bamboo tool to just kind of dig a hole there, big hole, and cut it twice, and put it in there. Those are grafted, and one people would have already removed the meristem there. So the two people job. So just watch the speed as well. So it's not very fast, but still faster than me. So most people, they do the grafting work actually be paid by number of grafts each day. So this is from Wuhan. So they use a typical homemade bamboo stick kind of tool like that, and they remove the meristem or growth tip, and then the two people working as a team, and they use very early stage of ovulation stage of the scion, and you see their rootstock actually is not really big as well. So you see little leaves over there. So that's how they do in Wuhan, a popular kind of a general standard skill level. And I'll show you another video about how the Shandong province does with the full insertion method. Again, these two young girls working as a team. First, you see they only cut once, right? This is serious watermelon. Cut it once, give it to the girl. One cut, right? And then you start to look at the tools she used. It's metal.
It's like a toothpick?
It's not like that. It's metal. So just think about how fast she can do. I don't know how many hours they work a day, but with two people like this, they take turn. They can graft 8,000 plants. 8,000 to 10,000 each day. Much faster than the grafting machine. So I count it's less than 2 seconds. And they told me that this is not the best worker they have. So the other thing now you have to look at, you actually, those are graphic ones, you see that the rootstock, the growth tip is not completely removed. The reason why they do that, they just remove the big leaves, is no matter how good you are, those things will grow out because you cannot destroy the whole meristem. So instead of spending extra time doing the grafting here, you can just do that later because you have to go through this again. So that's their explanation. And so this is how they mold these leaves much faster than mold the whole meristem or whole root stem, right? And the other thing is they try to control the size. For the first two leaves, actually very, very small when you do grafting. But you cannot control this well. So when you get a little bigger, you usually mold them manually. But when it's very small first two leaves, they actually just graft them without room to this at all. So this by what I mean that they actually improve the whole insertion method and increase their efficiency, and that's how they make money, right? And the other thing is, when you do whole insertion method, you don't worry too much about you just insert too much. So it will not hurt the plant if there's a hole in there as well. So sometimes you see the part you cut actually, the tape part actually you can see from there. This is not seen over there. So this is their, after grafting, this is how they manage how to heal those transplants. So this is generally how they do that. You see the plastic on top. Sometimes they ship the house outside or inside, and they use those plastic film to cover them up. Because the stage they graft is very small, their scion part is very stable on top of it. So see how we manage the recovery process. Very simple, very effective. They grow millions and millions of transplants very easily. And this one happened to be grafting the city's watermelon. Yeah, this nursery I help with translation with some other stuff, so you never go back. This is where I used to work, not the same institute. So every time I went there, they treated me really well, gave me really good food and stuff. So I just want to show you a little bit more, so give you some idea about how to improve the whole insertion. You know, this is the major, put it back. This is all the video I want to show you, all right? Okay, Carol mentioned about rootstock development. In China, for 30 years effort, we have bred a lot of different rootstock for different purposes. And as she mentioned before, there are different species from Cucurbit try to, be brought into the grafting and rootstock. And the first one here is the thick leaf gourd. That was the first wild species used for cucumber grafting in the Chinese greenhouse. And that was the reason for that one actually for cover hybrids. And then later you have a specific hybrid from Cucurbit, machada, and Maxima. Those are pumpkins. And this one is a winter melon. Those are used for cucumber, melon, most for melon, watermelon. And this one is used for bitter melon and watermelon. And this one, this is for watermelon. This one, the lofa, is used for bitter melon. So there are quite a few species being developed in China. So you can see all those numbers, those number of materials or rootstock cultivars. You probably cannot really purchase them from here. But some of those are listed in the vegetable grafting website, the one Carol showed you. So basically, anything that we used in the production will have a very solid scientific stuff to back up. And we just cannot use one species just to do the grafting. But the earliest stage, we had no rootstock, commercial rootstock. That's why they use the fig leaf. So, and they did find out the fig leaf rootstock will not affect the cucumber quality, but the other new rootstock called white seed pumpkin, the fig leaf is black seed, we call it black seed pumpkin, the other one's a white one, actually can alter the appearance of your cucumber fruit. So it's very, very interesting finding over there. And so those are just some of the, just one picture showing different rootstock with the root system. So it's too small for you to look at the details. You know, this is vegetablegrafting.org, and Dr. Matt from Ohio State manages those. There are a lot, there are about 49 pages rootstock in this whole world, I believe. So, and some of the Chinese ones are listed there as well. So I listed here just to give you some idea about, in our country here, there is vegetablegrafting.org. This results from the SCR grant. So Dr. Matt Grant is doing that. And that was the first international symposium on vegetable grafting. I'm sorry, yours is not first anymore. So, you know.
That was Costa. That was the first European.
First European, okay. So, you know, I actually, some of those people are pretty big guy in China, and I know them pretty well. So when Sheila was with there, she said, "How could you know those?" I said, "You know how old I am? I am then, you know, than you. So I'm 8-year difference, and I worked in China for over 10 years. So this is some challenges the Chinese scientists find out. The first one, the increased price. It's increasing all the time because the labor in China is getting more expensive. Second, the quality. If you see all those nurseries are very small, and it's hard for them to control the quality. And then the other one is quality about the seed casting stuff, and then the lack of multiple disease resistant rootstocks. It's everywhere. You can never keep up, right? And then the negative effect on fruit quality is less than that. This one I added to it is disease problems specific to rootstocks. When I was working in China, and we used the fig leaf rootstock, it worked so well. And then after several years, we found out that those plants started to die. And it's not because the sign, right, is the disease haven't been developed just to target rootstock. So when we choose rootstock, and if we continue to use that one, we have trouble. So this is something we already have found out, and it's you know, I think Carrie Bird also mentioned that you grew up nematode resistant rootstock. After a while, the population in the nematode build. You know, the plants you grow afterwards will suffer. So that's something we really have to pay attention to. And they also listed some of the solutions for the future research, not solution, future directions. First one, standardize the facility and equipment, and then develop rootstock with more disease resistance. And the other one is strengthen fundamental research. This is the key. You know, Carol mentioned about the gene for the compatibility issue. That was actually found in Japan many, many years ago. They just didn't know the reason. So until now, they found out, oh, that was the reason. In Japan, you just know you cannot graft this one to this one. So, and the seed priming of rootstock and storage of grafted seedlings, I think Dr. Cherry from Arizona has been doing some work with the storage stuff. So there are lots of different areas that grafting has to be focused on. Okay, do we want to continue?
Yeah.
All right. So the second part of my presentation is going to introduce you the matting grafting method. Dr. Xin used to be a Kansas, well, she graduated from Kansas when I was in Nebraska. I graduated first, and we worked together. And when I organized the first vegetable grafting workshop here, I invited her to do the talk. And here, Dr. Gwen, she's assistant professor at Purdue now, and she used to be my postdoc for about a year. So they published their information on matting grafting last December. So I think this is pretty new information. So I want to introduce their work. And you know, the good thing to have a postdoc is I can ask information from her. She gave it to me. And she had no trouble with providing that as well. This is a paper. And what they did is use the matting grafting on high squash rootstock. And that's the 4 methods they use: whole insertion, one cotton landing, they call it splice, no cotton landing, and a ton approach. And the treatment could include with without roots, without cutting roots. And that's how they cut the roots. The reason why you do this one is when you do, if you want to increase your grafting efficiency, you want to be faster, right? You want to, the best way to do that is to cut it and reroot. And this being standard practice in South Korea and Japan, actually. And if you think about machine grafting, most time you just cut them. So they were, the Xin and VGEND were looking at ways of without root cutting, how can it affect those? And their finding is a counter approach may not be a good way, but I'm not 100% with them. I'll explain to you as I go with my slides. First one is the insertion method. It's very simple, and Carol already mentioned that, and tomorrow we're gonna demonstrate that, so we're not going into details. But the picture is pretty, right? They did a really good picture. And VGEND is very good at that. So this is one cutting linear method or splice method, we cut it. And this is no cutting linear method. I do have some idea about how to promote this one, even though from their results, this is not going to be a good method from their result anyway, but I have a different opinion on that if we do more research on those. And in cut approach, what European people do, they see the rootstock inside the same cell. So in China and in Asia, they don't do that. They seed them in different cells and unplug them and graft them and then replant them. So, but in this case, they plant them together. They did a ton of root grafting and put the clip on it, and that will survive. And you notice that the roots of scion was not cut until later, right? So this has been a debating way of doing counter approach grafting in China and also previously in Japan and South Korea. So there are two different opinions. First, when you graft them, you cut them already. You replant them. Second, you wait until you think the whole thing already thick and then cut them. So my thing on that, if you use a very expensive rootstock, for example, if you use Terria, seedless cucumber in this country, each seed costs you over $1. You don't want to cut the root first because if it didn't pay, you lose $1, right? So, but the typical way of doing counter approach grafting, based on my experience, is you cut it first. Because by doing so, you know this one will take all the one, another can take. Whether your grafting is successful or not. But most people in this country may just keep the two rows going at the same time. So most time in China and maybe in South Korea as well, they cut them when they do a counter approach grafting. So in the heating chamber, in the recovery chamber, there's only one row that's from rootstock. And this is how you do the root excision there. So their result, there's a lot of results over there, but I'll just show you one slide we have. So basically, no cutting linear will not work out really well. Others will not matter that much. And also, if you cut the root, the counter approach method they use will not work really well. The reason for that is when you do counter approach grafting, the seedling age is a little bit older. So when you cut the roots, because the damage to them, the rerooting ability will be greatly reduced. Other method, your rootstock is very young. So at the younger stage, you don't actually have a hollow problem in the center. So it's easy for them to regrow and do grafting. So they did this. This is just their breeding system. So this is the number, and these are roots, how they grow. So this is a no cutting linear method. So this 1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't include this one actually. So basically, cutting root or not will not make too much difference for whole insertion method, wall cutting linear method. But the no cutting linear method actually have a different pattern of their root development. Really because they cut the cutting linear part, and the cutting linear is very critical for root development as well. The explanation is hormones, especially auxin, producing the leaves in the cutting linear going back to the roots to influence their morphological development, right? So basically, they don't recommend a no contactless method. However, one beauty of no contactless method is you don't have to remove suckers in the future, right? And removing suckers takes so much time, especially when your labor is so expensive. So one way to solve the problem is done by Dr. Richard Hassel from Clemson, and they use fatty alcohol to treat the rootstock, and we can kill the meristem. So I think we're going to patent that. We don't know exactly how it will work. But if you think about using walk living method, and you can figure out how to really solve the problem here with the different rooting pattern, then you avoid all the trouble by removing suckers in the future. So this is something actually I'm going to explore in this year. I got a little grant to try to work on this part. So their conclusion is cutting root will not affect any quality and growth characteristics, but you don't want to use the town approach if you cut them later, right? And then the other ones, the regrowth of roots will be inhibited by if you do no cultivating method. And the third major conclusion is that cutting root or not will not affect your growth of your grafted transplants. So that's why in South Korea and in China, some of the people using those root methods, they always cut them. So just save some labor involved there. Okay, I already touched this part about how the whole insertion method can be improved or simplified. So basically, you use a fairly younger rootstock and a very young scion. And use the, didn't remove the whole growth tip over there and use metal tools. Metal tools is easier to manage. And before, I used to tell people don't use metals. So we don't really know. So those are not research based. Nobody published this information. So I just share with you what they have done, and they produce millions and millions of grafted transplants. So they are successful. So at least we can borrow some of the idea over there. Okay, this is some discussion. I'll go over this really quickly. Really, I think for small farmers, not big farmers in this country, they might be the first bunch of people try to get into this technology because they don't need this much. And then for gardeners, curiosity. You have a hybrid stuff. You have a cherry tomato, you have a heirloom tomato, all this good stuff. And for nurseries, I'm pretty sure Carrie can cover this part. Nursery can really make some money, like you're making money making those stuff. So getting all those three factors in there, I think grafting really has a place in our country, and especially for small farmers. I work with small farmers. This is one of the farmers I work with. He actually have this germinating chamber, have this heating chamber, but he overkill. He got some heart attack last year. Too bad he's not producing his own grafted transplants anymore. He buys them now. And this is something I mentioned that a similar trend happened in China. And here we are picking up this technology, and the first farmers going to graft themselves. Later, the nursery can pick up, and then just go through what Chinese have been doing, right? And the other key thing for us as extension people is how do we educate our farmers and agents? How can we make this wonderful technology to be useful to our people? So this is just another shot. So, and I checked some of the online stuff. There's not so many different nurseries they sell this, but this one, grafted heirloom from Johnny's, sold out. And I checked the price. I don't know how many plants each unit. They cost you over $300 per unit. So a small nursery with some of the equipment or greenhouse, they can really make some money with this.
100 plants.
Yeah.
500 plants?
100 plants.
100 plants, $3
$3
each.
a plant per
Yeah.
sure.
So, with your marketing strategy, and you can really make some money. My experience, tomato grafting is very, very easy. And, we talk about the recovering stage. I tried it many, many times, including here in Lincoln. I found out, I didn't do research because I have done so many other things. So just my personal experience, not the humidity, it's the temperature. If you have a lower temperature and have a relatively good humidity in greenhouse, we're going to take. So what we did, I did some demonstration for farmers during the Small Farm Week, several years, 2 years in a row in North Carolina, and I also did something here when I was working here. So we just grabbed them and threw them in the greenhouse, no cover, nothing. All of them take. It's very easy to do. So just you can feel free to tell your farmers, yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Really do it. Just don't cut yourself. So tomato is pretty easy, and cucurbit grafting is more difficult. We all find out if I graft tomato, I can guarantee myself 95% survival, no problem at all. But if you want me to do the grafting of cucumber, I'll say you're probably 60 to 80%. So I don't know. But this time, before I came here, I used a ton of approach grafting. I got close to 100% survival. I was really happy with it. So the timing for rootstock is to come to the perfect size is very important. And the heating conditions, the humidity and light, I don't encourage to use black plastic. With high humidity and the black plastic, that just fool your plants to see that's soil condition, you get a lot of the roots, air roots. So that's something you want to avoid. So giving a little light actually can help you out with the grafting survival, especially for cucurbits. Okay, so this is something I developed, and I'm not as lucky as you. I turned in my extension publication 2 years ago in my university, still haven't been through, so I gave up. So timing depends on rootstock and scion. So this is some of the general information I created, and pre-germinated rootstock is very important. If you're a small farmer or you're a nursery, you want to make sure your cell will have one plant, pre-germinated. And this is the gourd used to be used for watermelon grafting. Watermelon grafting. This is the white-seeded pumpkin. This rootstock developed from China actually will able to affect appearance of your cucumber plant. The cucumber looks much better. People attractive. When people are going on things, first thing is how they look, right? And here's some of the trial I'm doing this year. I work with Johnny seeds. They gave me some seeds to trial for cucumber grafting this year. So you can see, when I see the timing for rootstock and scion depends on the species, right? You see the different rootstock seeds. They're very different for different species. And when you try to germinate them, you have to make sure they germinate at different time. And for this one, if you want to use a ton of approach grafting, and you see it in the same time for both rootstock and scion, will not work out because those grow very, very late, and this grow very, very fast. So you have to know what you work with. And so when I said by pre-germinating, that's basically a way to try to get a perfect size. For example, if you or your student or farmer cannot guarantee the time to do the seeding of the seeds, because usually we see you for example you sow your cucumber seeds first, and then 3 days later you sow your pumpkin seed, for example. But maybe it not work out. What you can do, you can pre-germinate some of those either scion or rootstock to make sure that you can meet your need for grafting time. Plus the grafting window is about maybe 1 to 2 weeks, right? The other thing is, if you really can't, you don't want to pre-germinate, use the bottom heating. This is the same time I planted. Those are cucumbers. You can really control the size. This is with a heating pad. This is without. You can really do something. You just have to do 1 or 2 test runs. You know exactly when you can do that. And the other one is by rootstock itself. This is the same time, I'll pre-germinate them, the same variety, different species. This is the gourd, this is the pumpkin. You see the size they grow. So if you use the bottom heating, you can control the size of this little bit. I mean, you can use bottom heating on this. So timing is critical, and it takes some time to figure out. I think most time it's our job as a researcher to figure those out. But like Carol said, there's no way we can try all the combinations. When you work with your farmers, you probably want to do some research with farmers as well. And so delivery fruiting, like I said, this is a cucumber I grafted earlier, about 30 years ago. You can see different size. After, once these survive from growth chamber, two different methods for grafting. This is the scion itself. You can see the size are really different. So my simple solution without research is you start your grafting transplants about a week to 10 days earlier. So you still meet the almost same harvesting for your early yield. So that's one thing. But whether grafting actually affect the number of fruit for your first fruit cluster, I don't really know. But for cucumber stuff, I don't see a problem. Okay, and the other thing I know we have found out, if you do research or small scale for high tunnel, for example, you can graft them indoor and heal them indoor. It's much easier to control the temperature. And I really think, based on my years' experience, temperature is almost the key. Because you can, in a greenhouse setting, it's really, really hard to control temperature. Even though your temperature setting is right, because you have a plastic cover on it, you have a greenhouse effect there, it'll be really hot. And for that reason, Xin actually used the AC unit, trying to cool down just for those green chamber. By the way, Carol, I asked my technicians to build the heating chamber for me. I told them to do this, and they said, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. So later he did this according to your instruction. So give you credit. This is your publication. So this is very simple to do. I do it this way. I said, okay. So using the humidifier will be very important. And the graft early, that's something I really want to address, because early stage it's easy to manipulate, and you don't have this hollow problem in the center, and they recover faster, they grow faster. And for this one, I'm going to do some research this year to see whether rooting hormones will work, especially no cotton maintenance. And at the same time, I already started some small research to see if I just cut. I planted a little bit more rootstock this year. So what I'm doing right now is trying to just remove the root tip, cut them, and put it into the medium without any hormone to see how they root. So maybe some of them will root better than others. In the future, maybe I try some hormone. I don't know yet. So for home gardeners, if you can use this kind of, I call it dome. It really can keep the humidity, but just be careful. Don't put it in the greenhouse and burn them. And so that's all I have. Grafting actually is not the main focus anymore. So I have two grants. Organic research on high tunnel strawberries, and I just heard about a pretty good size high tunnel vegetable projects. So, but this year I picked up some cucumber grafting, and VGEND, the girl I mentioned from Purdue, is starting some research as well. So I really think cucumber will be a really good potential crop for high tunnel production. And Louis Jett, the Virginia State University people, he actually regarded citrus cucumber as the #1 crop in high tunnel production. So I'm going to do more research and a demonstration in citrus cucumber production and grafting in high tunnels. All right, I know I don't know if I went over time, but I know I'm happy with